Hello, I'd like to show some of the features that are coming to Howler 8.2 shortly. First of all, one of the things we've been working on quite a bit lately is our plugin architecture. We've been gradually integrating plugins so that they'll just generally be easier to use. Plugins are basically executable programs that are run asynchronously. That is, they don't run in the same application space as the main application. They run alongside it, and generally that can be a good thing, or it can be not as good depending on the type of application you're using. So some of those we've been taking and integrating, quite a few actually, about 100 of them so far since version 6, I believe. Some of the benefits of integrating them is that they can run a little bit faster. There's a memory copy that takes place when running out of process that can be avoided. And there are some other benefits, such as taking advantage of our internal APIs, such as our multi-threading platform and that sort of thing, as well as some of the SSE2 instructions we have already embedded inside the program, which we might not normally be able to use when we're working in an external plugin. And those are some of the reasons we're integrating the plugins. There are still a few that remain as external executable plugins, and there are some advantages to that. For one, they use a separate memory space, and should one of the plugins crash, the rest of the program is unaffected. So there are a few plugins we decided to keep as external, but there, as you can see, we have a much shortened list of plugins than we used to have. Quite a few, in fact. This makes browsing for a specific feature much quicker and simpler. But some of the new features we've added now is that, for one thing, plugins have a tooltip. Now, if you drag over the plugin, you'll see some extended information for each plugin. And this is specific information to each plugin that will basically help you understand what they do. There's also extended information. If you drag out the panel, you'll see that all that here: the author, the version number, the size, and date of the creation of the file, and that sort of thing. And some of that can be useful occasionally, or to developers it can be very useful. There are also some new options in plugins, such as being able to refresh that list. Say you added a plugin, you would want to refresh the list so you could see it. Being able to pattern match the list if you want to list specific files, say files starting with B. You could do that very simply by typing that in, and as you can see there, that is our pattern matching capability. Alright, see, or if you just wanted to list plugins starting with M or whatever, or you can put a specific pattern in whatever you wanted to put in there. That is a quick way to help you find a specific file. Of course, you can always just click on a character on the keyboard. Say you want to find that file starting with M, you just click on that and it'll go right to the first occurrence of a file starting with M. That's been in there, but we haven't changed that. One thing we have changed, though, is the layout of this list. There is a lot more space in between files to make them more easy to read. We've also cleaned up the interface a little bit. There was a lot of little visual glitches and things that you might have seen. For example, this little line here didn't quite go all the way to the edge. That sort of thing we've been gradually cleaning up. Just little tiny changes, but it adds up over a while. Now, you also notice that the Lua browser has been updated visually, cosmetically, so that the plugin panel and the Lua browser are both very similar. We wanted to be similar. We wanted to be consistent in our interface, and these are some little changes that we're making. Now, I am running on Windows 8 right now, as you can see over here. This is Windows 8. And there have been a number of changes in Windows 8 to the GUI. It uses a much flatter look. We had a lot of time to prepare for Windows 8, and there have been no big surprises compatibility-wise, but there are a few visual cosmetic changes that have taken place, and we are updating our interface to accommodate for that. We're using less use of gradients, going with a slightly flatter look. Let me load up a plugin. Say the GUI plugin is around here somewhere, or there it is, test GUI. As you can see, our GUI server, which is used by Lua scripts, I might add, has been updated to use the new style of the flatter look and the less use of gradients and that sort of thing, to be more consistent with the Windows 8 flat look. We are also going through all of our old plugins to make sure that they are all consistent. For example, the exposure sheet previously did not use the color pens that the main program used. Instead, it used its own pens that were slightly different, and we've updated things like that just so they'd be more consistent. Also, the keyframer, the brush keyframer, some of these, like the color mixer, have been updated with these new palette pens. Quite a few, in fact, were still remaining to be done. They used the old Windows 95 look, the raised and recessed look of the older computer systems, which has pretty much gone out of style. We're going with a new more modern style. Some of the plugins have been updated as well with more speed, such as this red, yellow, and blue color wheel was a little more sluggish, and that's been brushed off a little bit. There's a number of other plugins that have been updated as well. It'd take a while to go through all of them, but in some cases it's just cosmetic, in some cases it's functional or speed related. Printing, for example, had a few visual glitches, and we've taken care of that. Oh, sorry, wrong button. Print would this area here would sometimes overlap the text on this edge, and that's been updated. This panel's been given a little bit more space to make it easier to use. Things like that that we've been working on in version 8.2. Also the the scanning plugins, like scan frames, was previously using the older style, and that's been cosmetically updated as well. Quite a few plugins. The raw loader previously used the Windows 95 looking controls here, and they've all been updated to a newer Windows look. I think at this point we're about 95% of the way done. We still got a little ways to go. You can see over here some of these plugins have not been fully updated yet, but the gross majority of them have been updated. And in some cases the changes are more dramatic than the others. But these are just a few of the changes we're making in version 8. Also, GPU support is being added, at least in one feature. There are also going to be some other exciting changes. The GUI is being updated so that the previously this tool panel would sometimes stick to the wrong edge, and that was kind of an annoyance for our users, and that's been changed. Pigment profiles had a small bug. We fixed that, and quite a bit of additional changes are coming. So there'll be more on this later, but that's a taste of what we've been doing in 8.2. So TTFN.